Okay. Well, it's so nice to meet you. I don't know if you remember seeing this on my profile, but whenever it's time to post this episode, I'll record an intro for you. But for this, we kind of just jump right in.
Yeah, nice. It's a
Okay,
good way to
cool.
do it, I think. You don't miss anything then.
Right, exactly. Well, I'm a yapper, so things can be missed. So my first question after this is how I do it is I read the profile again and I go, what intuitively do I want to ask first? Like what's giving me the most let me ask a question about that. So for you, which this is probably a very innocuous question, but I feel like you've really got shit figured out. And so what I really want to know first is, did you get this happiness and optimism thing figured out really early in life and build on that? Or were you someone who really struggled with the idea of happiness, like as a young child?
Yeah, no, it was always quite easy for me. I was given quite an easy life to live, I guess. And I think that really helped me along the way, because it's this thing I call the happiness helix. Is the happier you are, the easier it is to do things that make you happy. So the easier it is
Yes.
to exercise and eat well and socialize and all these things that can be challenging if we're a little bit stressed.
Yes.
Uh, so yeah, it's something that came quite naturally, and it's something that I had to study to learn about because I didn't actually know what I was doing. I kind of liken it to riding a bike, as in sometimes if you're really good at riding a bike, it's very hard to teach someone because you don't actually know what you're doing. So you need
Yeah.
to really take the time to take notice of what it is you're doing so that you can teach other people.
Yeah. Well, okay. So then is it fair to say that you kind of saw in you what you weren't like you saw other people around you struggling to achieve this thing that you kind of felt inside almost naturally, and you wanted to help people, but you didn't know how you had created such a peaceful inner world?
Yeah, it was an interesting journey that I went on. So there was a bit of that definitely. When I moved to Brisbane, I did wonder why everyone was so stressed and so worried, and everyone was, had something they were worried about. And then I decided that it was what really helps me was my philosophy, which makes it easy to forgive, uh, because so much of our stress is just a lack of forgiveness for ourselves or someone else. And then that thought just keeps on going around and around. Whereas if we can just forgive, then we can remove that burden and that stress and then have the more energy to do these things that make us happy. So I wanted to share that. And I set about writing a book about that. And since I was framing it around happiness, I was like, righto, well, first of all, let's identify, let's say what is happiness and go deep into the research of how to be happy. And then the more
Yeah.
I studied this, the more I realized why happiness was easy for me. It wasn't just these foundational beliefs, it was all these pillars. So I say these six pillars of eating well, sleeping well, exercising well, socializing well, having novelty, and hope. So yeah, that's how I kind of discovered how to ride a bike, you might say.
Were you taught these things? Like, did you like you said you didn't have, like, a super rough childhood, like, were your parents optimistic people as well?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely not stressed people. They didn't put a lot of stress on us as kids. Uh, and I think they just like encouraged us to be, well, they didn't even really put a lot of emphasis on, like, we were always fed healthy meals, that we didn't have much takeaway. We lived out on a property. Uh, we were always encouraged not to watch too much TV. And I guess that gives you time to exercise. There wasn't a lot of emphasis on, oh, you've got to exercise for 20 minutes a day and uh, all this.
Right.
We're just given room to do this. Uh, Yeah, so yeah, it's something that's just sort of happened unintentionally.
Right. That's so cool though. But I mean, I can see where those are things that you're implicitly picking up, and if nobody's pressuring you to prescribe some exact way of doing things so that you can be a certain way in life, and you're just naturally coming across what makes you feel happy, you're learning to pursue activities that make you feel happy.
Yeah, I think that's another thing. There was really no pressure on us to follow anything, any path. Uh, there was also a lot of boredom, like a lot of time when I'd just be like, "Mom, I'm bored."
Mhm.
And she's like, "Well, I'll give you a job if you want something to do." Uh, and so then we just have to go out and entertain ourselves. Quite often, I'd just jump on the motorbike and just go for a ride to nowhere. And
Oh
on
my
that ride,
god.
I'd come up with some idea of how I was going to entertain myself for the day. Uh, yeah, so uh, I guess we were free to explore our own path wherever life might take us to.
And is that something that has really, like, for lack of a better phrase, stuck with you? Like, do you still just kind of naturally follow what lights you up?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Uh, I've really got no uh, well, I started my journey as a farmer. Like when I finished school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Uh, so I was like, well, dad's pretty happy. I know how to do what dad does, so I'll just come home and work on the farm.
Yeah.
So yeah, dad was like, well, before you come home, I want you to go and get a degree, any degree. And so I thought it made sense to study farming. So went and studied farming and came home to the farm. And well, actually, while I was studying, I started this online grain trading business. And so while I was studying, I was like, you know what, this business is pretty interesting. So before going back to the farm, I went and studied another degree and did a degree in business.
Wow.
And then I was like, wow, there's so many opportunities out there that I didn't know about. You know, there's all these jobs that I could get. I got a job in a factory with Arnott's, a biscuit factory. Lasted there I think weeks, maybe a month.
Yeah.
It wasn't for me. So I went back to the farm. And yeah, that was the longest time I stayed in one thing. Think I was on the farm for 7 years.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, I was on the farm for 7 years, and during that time, I was investing, buying properties, and so I got to a point where I'm like, right, I'm going to leave the farm, and I went into property development. So started subdividing, building houses and residential units. Uh, did that for about 4 years. And then I was like, right, I need something new. Well, just life, just it was like, this isn't that exciting anymore.
Yeah.
So I gave that away and started really thinking about how I could help the community. So I started a charity and I didn't know how I was going to do it, but just kept on trying different things. Uh, and then, yeah, about 3 years ago, I decided to write this book. And for the last 3 years, that's what I've been doing, writing this book.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's a
always
long
trying.
time to spend on a
Oh,
project, especially for somebody who likes variety.
yeah, yeah. I think it's about every 3 years I seem to change. I feel like that might have started at school because every 3 years I change schools.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a long time. Yeah,
And so is the book out yet or is it coming out soon?
it should be out within weeks. I've been saying that for about a month now, but the text is ready to upload. Like literally, I can upload that tomorrow. I'm just waiting for the cover design to be finished. So should have that. The audio book is in production. So uh,
Wow. I'm
the
excited for you.
Sean, who's producing that, said that should be out. Well, his goal was to finish it this weekend, but like that should be out in the next 2 weeks too. So
Wow.
yeah, potentially by you know next week it should be all up online,
Yeah. Okay,
and
well,
then
let's dive into, if it's okay,
yeah, yeah.
what these 6 pillars are.
So like I mentioned before, they're basically just being healthy. So eating well, sleeping well. Uh, how I went about finding these was first of all by defining happiness. So I think we all agree happiness is this positive feeling. Like where that is hard to define. Like, is it just contentment? Is it excitement? Is it joy, bliss? Which one is it? But if we go down into a inner state, uh, we can generally say it's when we got the right balance of serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin.
Yeah.
So we need those hormones to feel any one of those states, to feel contentment, joy, bliss. And if we don't have them in the right balance, then we're not going to feel very good at all.
No.
So uh, basically, from that, we can see that we're happy when we have these chemicals in the right balance. So then I went about researching, okay, what gives us these chemicals? If we don't have them, how do we get them?
Mhm.
And so I just researched as many different things that have been found to give us these hormones as possible. And when I had finished, I grouped them and they all generally fit into these 6 groups.
Yeah.
There are other ones like sun. Sun gives us happy hormones.
Right.
But generally, they all fit into these 6 groups. So then from that, we can say, well, if I'm not happy, which one of these should I work on?
Mhm.
Should I exercise more? Should I get better sleep? Uh, do I need to spend more time with my friends or build better relationships with my friends? Or do I just need more hope?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
And
the
so
6
do you
pillars
think
are,
too that that's why, because I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and my 23-year-old, we were just talking about the word procrastination, which I just don't like him labeling himself a procrastinator. And, he's someone who has ADHD. And I was talking about, like, well, if dopamine is your motivation center too, not just pleasure, it makes sense to me that it would be difficult to motivate yourself. But why I have my own understanding of this, but what is your understanding about how stress impacts your ability to be motivated or to have hope or to do the things that would be conducive for happiness? Because I know for myself, when something stressful is happening, I'm tense, like I feel it in my neck, back,
yeah,
and shoulders, and my overall mood it's a constant work. I can get into good
yeah,
energy and whatever, but it's a constant work just to shift my energy. It'll be hours and then, okay, now I have the energy to go to the gym or to make a better choice for myself or whatever. But what is your understanding in the science for why it's so difficult for us to do things that are good for us when we're experiencing stress?
yeah, I think you're exactly right that your dopamine is our motivator. And when we're stressed, we've got a lot more cortisol, and that
Mhm.
is really weighs us down. So, uh, yeah, it makes it hard. So, and that's this happiness helix. The happier we are, the easier it is to do these difficult things like go to the gym.
Yes.
And so, if we can reduce the stress in our lives, then we can make doing these things, building these pillars easier, and then we become happier, and then it becomes easier. Uh, yeah, it's 100%. And so it's the chemicals, but also the structure of our brain.
Mhm.
So people with a certain brain structure, a more dense prefrontal cortex, and a more connected brain on the whole, generally have more emotional control.
Mm.
So they're more able to do things they want to do rationally. So more things that they judge as going to benefit them in the future. So if you've got this brain structure, then you're going to find it easier to choose to do difficult things. Like, cooking a healthy meal is more difficult than just ordering takeaway. And
Yes.
going to the gym is more difficult than just laying on the lounge. The only reason we do these difficult things is because we believe there's going to be some future benefit. And the
Yeah.
more emotional control we have, the easier it is to delay that gratification, to do that difficult thing now. So, besides just being happy by having the right hormones, we can also improve our ability to do difficult things by improving our brain structure.
So you
And
can improve that.
yeah, 100%. A lot of it's genetic and a lot of it is from our childhood. So,
Yeah.
uh, the unfortunate thing about this is the more stress you have, the more it wires your brain to be stressed
Yeah.
and the less emotional control you have.
Yes.
So, and another bad thing is that the more stress we have as a child, the more it wires our brain this way. We become more tolerant to stress as we grow up. But if you want to reverse this and to give yourself a better brain structure, then coincidentally, it's the same 6 pillars that you can do it, because
Right.
generally all those 6 pillars will have some effect on the giving you have some ability to improve that brain structure for you. As in
Yeah.
people who get better sleep, people who sleep well for like 8 to 9 hours a night have this brain structure that gives them more emotional control. And there's certain foods like, uh, fatty foods, basically unhealthy foods that can also have a damaging effect on this.
Yeah.
Uh, and just being stressed in general, so being lonely is going to have this damaging effect. So if you can be lonely less often, then you're going to allow your brain to improve. And potentially the biggest one is just being stressed. So feeling regret or resentment or worry, all these things are wiring your brain to see things to worry about and reducing your emotional
Yes.
control. So
Yes.
if you can find a way to reduce your worry, you're going to make yourself worry less and have more emotional control. It's
Yeah. No, that's so true. And I would like, so I'm going to rephrase this because I have not done shit for research, but I have learned through, healing about creating new neural pathways and things like that. But I didn't know that you could actually improve your frontal cortex. I didn't know that that could
yeah,
improve at all. I knew about rewiring, but I didn't know that could improve. So that's really exciting. And I wanted to point out, I really like how you described cortisol makes you feel heavy, like that it's a heavy chemical because it's so true. I mean, first of all, I think there's biophysical reasons for that. I think that it causes inflammation, you retain more water, whatever. But then, yeah, to your point about what you just said, if you are expecting a certain result, your brain is going to look for that result in everything you do. You can have stark evidence to the contrary and still see exactly what you're hoping to see because that's what feels safe. And I've been learning so much about my own personal confirmation and negativity bias that it's almost embarrassing to learn that I was viewing things from this very like victim jaded mindset and believing so wholeheartedly that I was right. I mean, so sure that people were the problem and that I was not the problem. And then just like being a much more open and receptive person, totally different experience. I'm not expecting perfection out of other humans anymore. They can show up imperfectly because I can show up imperfectly. And so I'm not looking for ways that they're failing me all the time the way I used to.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Like if you can, be in more situations and not be stressed, then that's just going to cycle through your whole life.
Yeah.
You'll come home less stressed, you'll be more motivated to do difficult things. So what goes through your head when something unfortunate happens? Like when someone does something that grinds you? Uh
I have a couple different responses to that because I'm
yeah,
working right now on how irritated I can get with other people over really small things, but it's not people like in my circle. It's just my normal everyday interactions. So
yeah,
there's the annoyance that happens, and then there's like, because I'm making a very active choice to live in a certain life. Like,
yeah,
I want to live in a certain energy. So it happens, then I have to get curious and go, "Why am I annoyed with this stranger? Like, what is this opening up?" And then, like, a choice to just feel a different way. But when it's someone in my circle and they do something that I perceive as probably the most negative thing I would perceive someone else to be is, like, uncaring about me, and
yeah,
then I just go, "Why is that my natural assumption that they don't care?" Just this morning, I was noticing some tension in myself in regards to a relationship, and I was like, "Okay, I think you may just be trying to direct some feelings." I just lost my 18-year-old son a couple of weeks ago,
oh
and
wow,
yeah, and so I'm trying really hard to not do the thing where your brain gets really, like, wrapped up in thought spirals and gives you some false sense of control because you can direct some anger or resentment somewhere. And so I was noticing that that was probably what was coming up and that I needed to find a different outlet because, like, I had a really good day yesterday. It was my first recording back. And then I saw clients, like, it was a very optimistic day, and then in the evening, like, I found myself really struggling. I'm sorry, and I hate that I even
you're right.
apologized, but, um, this is why I didn't even tell the guests yesterday because I want normal conversations again, but I found myself yesterday evening like, "Ooh, I've got a lot to release because I haven't." It's not like it ever went away, I think about it every minute of every day, but I was so happy to be engaged
Yeah,
in, like, uplifting conversations again, you know? And so by the end of the evening, I knew there was a lot I needed to look at and feel and release and whatever, and I think that process for now is gonna restart every single day. So this morning, I'm noticing some tension and like, "Ooh, I'm mad at this person for nothing." That was what
yeah,
I saw, was I said,
yeah,
"Okay, why are we mad?" And I was like, "They didn't do shit to me." Literally nothing.
yeah,
I mean, I could pretend they did, and that's
yeah,
obviously what I was doing, is pretending that they had done something to slight me, but there was nothing, like, absolutely nothing. And so I think that's what I do usually is I'm gonna give myself a moment to be pissed at whatever it is, but also, why are we upset? You know, like
yeah,
what
yeah,
is going on? And so many times it really is just I need a snack or a nap or a shower or movement.
yeah,
That's my little
yeah, yeah,
list every day is did
yeah,
you get that done?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, that's there's so much good advice there, like especially that last one. So, like I said, the more, or you said it, the more dopamine we have, the more motivated we are, the better we feel, the easier it is to be positive. So, if you go and do something that releases these hormones, like going for a walk, or maybe it's having a shower or having a snack, like that can release some dopamine. We're going to be more optimistic and be able to look at this same situation in a more positive light.
So much
Uh,
differently.
yeah. Uh, so also, I think what I heard is just like understanding what is making me feel this way.
Yeah.
Uh, so often, if we can identify what is causing us to feel a certain way or do a certain thing, then we can lift the blame off ourselves.
Yeah.
We can be like, well, that's not my fault. That, there's a reason I do this and why I'm feeling this way. And it also, by identifying what's causing it, then we can address that cause. So I think that's really valuable advice, has been able to be like, what is causing this? What's making this happen?
Yeah. Well, and I've always been a person where if I went too long without eating, or I'm a person who tends to skip breakfast, and because I
Yeah.
want to eat a little bit later because I'm not hungry when I very first wake up, but then I'll get busy and forget. And then by the
Yeah.
afternoon, I am agitated. Like, I am
Yeah.
not a person who needs to skip a meal. I've been this way my entire life, where if I skip a meal, the people around me should be treading lightly because I've always been that way. I just get so tense and agitated. And I think that it is because I did have a childhood full of crazy trauma. And so any sort of scarcity in my body is like right back to survival mode. And so I just have to be really intentional. And I try to be really like focused on don't skip meals because it's not going to do you any good. But also, something that I've really focused on in the last year is because I started to notice like the times I was really self-sabotaging and specifically like overspending money was I would identify it as boredom, but then when I really, like, got into the boredom, I was like, "Oh, I'm telling myself I'm lonely, and then I'm lonely because nobody likes me or nobody wants to spend time with me, or it's because I'm mean." Because that was a narrative that I had really carried around because of my reactivity, and so once I started to identify, like, you're not lonely, like, you're learning how to spend time with yourself, but, like, you have people if you chose to go spend time with them, but right here you just for a second noticed no one was around, and maybe the activity that you were doing is no longer fulfilling. And so now, what else am I going to do? But I started to reframe those moments as just chemical lows. Like I wasn't receiving dopamine or serotonin or oxytocin. So there's something that needs to be replenished. I don't have to assign this really negative meaning to this scenario. I can say, oh, I need to replenish something. When's the last time I ate? I probably need to go ahead and head to bed because that stuff would happen at night
Yeah.
mostly.
Yeah. Exactly.
And just like how should I replenish these chemicals instead of creating like I feel like so many of us are labeling ourselves as chronically depressed, and by all definition, that would be correct, but we hold that label in such a way that makes it hopeless and like it's can't be fixed, and I really believe that 99% of us can tap in and just replenish those things and be happier people.
Yeah, 100%, especially if you know how to replenish it. So if you're feeling down and you're like, man, I'm feeling down, but you don't know what to do to lift your mood, then you're a little bit trapped. Like, and you're just
Yes.
going to feel worse and worse because, like, you're going to because you're feeling bad, you're going to be less optimistic. Small things are going to upset you. You're going to feel worse. But if you can just be like, hey, I'm feeling down, which of the six pillars am I missing? Then you can be like, hey, I haven't seen anyone for 8 hours. Like, I need some connection.
Mhm.
Uh, or, hey, I haven't eaten for 3 hours. I need some food. Or, hey, I haven't slept for 12 hours. I need some sleep. You can just go
Yes.
through the pillars and be like, which one am I missing? Like, am I bored? Have I just not done anything new for a long time? Uh, just go through them, tick, 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 and make ourselves feel better. Uh, we can't like a myth that I'm really trying to bust is the idea that we can choose to feel happy. Like we literally like we can choose to move our hands, we can choose to blink, we can choose to move muscles, and we can choose to have a thought. Like I can choose to think about an elephant, but I can't choose how I feel. Like if I feel amazing, I can't choose to feel crap, and if I feel crap, I can't choose to feel amazing. Like that's just something we can't choose. Like I can't choose how fast my hair grows. There's certain things our body does that we can't choose. We need to
Right.
do things. We need to do things we can choose to cause that. So to cause ourselves to feel more positive, we need to do something. We need to eat. We need to sleep. We need to exercise. We need to socialize.
Right.
And that will cause us, or we need to make a judgment that something is good. So if what is causing us to feel bad is this judgment that, what has happened to us is bad, then we need to change that judgment. We need to find a new perspective that reduces how bad that is. So that's our thoughts. Like we can choose to think about this differently. But the challenge there is that we've got to choose a perspective that we believe. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like,
that's such a good point, yes.
we can't just be like, our friends told me that it's actually good what's happened, but I don't believe them. And so you're not going to feel
Mhm.
any good. You need to choose a perspective that you believe. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that because, I mean, when I was a person who walked around from the time I woke up till I went to sleep, viewing things from a very negative place. People, places, and things were all pretty negative in my mind, which I think is a surprise to people because I was always the life of the party. But like, I was judging the shit out of everyone all the time because that's how I judged myself, and just thinking rude stuff about people all the time, just really rude stuff. Um, and I was always anxious about something, and I remember friends just being like, "You just gotta quit worrying." And I think that's what you mean in terms of choice, is
Yeah.
like, I can't just go, "I want to feel happy, I feel happy." Now
Yeah.
I do believe in working in energetics and things like that, but I do believe the choice is what you're saying, to do something that will get you where you're wanting to go. But we don't just get to sit here and go, I don't want to feel this way, so I no longer feel this way. And I think oftentimes in woo woo world, which I firmly love woo woo world, but I do feel like, if you want to anchor into the human experience, you have to understand human experience comes first, and you're going to feel all of the wide range of feelings every day. And some of that is those chemical lows or whatever you want to, sad, depressed, whatever. You're going to feel those things sometimes. And so, what can we do to mitigate that? I mean, there are times those feelings are necessary, obviously, but the choice isn't just, I don't want to feel this. The choice is, I want to do things, like you said, to cause the things that I do want to feel.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Uh,
that.
and just knowing what to do. Uh, yeah, that's the really powerful thing is just knowing what can I do right now to
Yes.
take me to where I want to be. Uh,
Yes.
and one thing that I talk a lot about in my book is how to change our judgments to reduce how stressed we are. Uh, so, like I said, you need to believe this. And quite often, like sometimes you can just look at it another way, like, oh, it's really good that this terrible thing happened because I've learnt this lesson. And if you really believe that that's a valuable lesson and that lesson is worth what you've lost or what it's cost you, then
Right.
you're going to be like, you're going to move on from that. You're not going to dwell on it because you're like, that was good. Let's move on. Let's see what the next thing is. But sometimes we just can't find that perspective. Like, we just cannot see any silver lining to what happened. What happened just
Right.
is bad. And there's no way we can twist it into a way that we believe it is actually good. Uh, and in those situations, it's really powerful if we can lean on our foundational beliefs. So this is like how we
Yes.
explain the unexplained.
Yes.
Why are we here and what causes things to happen as they do?
Mhm.
And so if we've got good foundational beliefs, but also very strong foundational beliefs, then quite often we can just be like, uh, that was unavoidable. There was nothing I could have done about that.
Right.
And so we just be like, yeah, that's bad. That's terrible. Uh, that's the worst thing that could have ever happened. But there's nothing I could have done about it. I'm not to blame. The person who caused it's not to blame. Uh, and so it's still going to feel bad because it is bad, but it's not going to cause that really like deep, deep unsettling that just
Well,
hangs
the
with us
unraveling,
for days.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that life no longer has meaning, or I was wrong about what the meaning of all this is. I think, you know, I've experienced a lot of different types of losses in my life, and my parents died young, and I was not approaching grief in a healthy way for any of those losses. Through the last couple of years of healing and growing and just loving, I've developed really good tools for myself. And so I don't I'm only a couple of weeks into this whole thing, but I immediately was like, I'm not throwing my life away because I just experienced the worst thing I could ever experience. I'm not going to do that because I do believe there is meaning in all of these experiences. I feel more sure of that, in fact. But I can see how in the past it shaped me to believe that I was wrong about what I thought the meaning in situations were, or just became really just a very pessimistic person. And fair. It was fair for me to have those feelings. I did go through a lot of shit, but I'm so grateful to be on this side of things where I can still love this world, love myself, love my family, love the people around me, and yet feel the worst pain imaginable. It's not going to go away, but I can still see all the beauty that I saw before this happened. Like there is still so much beauty. And I still feel, in fact, I feel more solid in my purpose for what I'm doing here than I even did before. So I'm not shaming anyone who's not there. I mean, listen, I'm not going to judge anyone for how they, especially dealing with losing a child, but I made a choice from the second that it happened. Like, I'm not going to let this ruin me. I'm going to let this change me in all the ways that it needs to change me, but not in the ways that I don't want it to, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you're going to let it be the candle to light some new thing, some new change in the world. Or
Right.
yeah, yeah,
Which
that's powerful.
helps. I mean, you have to have some sort of meaning and belief in a foundation of something. I mean, I can't imagine where I would be if I didn't have that because I lean on it heavily. But even my 23-year-old has started to shift some beliefs because of this experience in a positive way, and it's helping him. I mean, it just when you can find meaning in something that's not like, oh, this happened because, you know, the world is against me or whatever bad thing, but you can say like, oh, okay, there is intentionality all around me and that I get to choose too how I'm going to respond. Just that alone is so much more optimistic than anything I would have done or he would have done in the past. So I've been grateful for my own transformation from the last couple years because I am able to model these things for my other two children because I would have been the one that destroyed the rest of our family a couple years. I would have been the reason that they were not well even more so if this had happened a couple of years ago. So I mean, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that I can be a model for them.
So what would you say is your purpose, your driving purpose?
I've always felt that my purpose was to be one of the people who goes through shit and then in real time shares. I thought it was get over the shit, become this perfect version of yourself and share how you got there. What I've learned over the last couple of years is that I'm going to experience hardships and in real time learn how to, maneuver those and share in real time what that looks like. And so, yeah, I feel more solid on that now than ever.
And so when something uh, terrible happens, for example, losing your child, uh, you can see how that is going to help you achieve this purpose. As in, like, that's what worst thing could happen. If you
Right.
can, if you can pass through this uh, event, then that's something that you can share with other people who are going through difficult things. Is
Right.
that kind of how you see it?
Well, yes. And how I'm the choices I'm making to actively like, because I don't think there's gonna be, like, another like, the other side of grief because, like, this does become a part of, like, who you are when you have this kind of significant loss, but I do think in real time, I'm showing people, like, we had our first Christmas right after, how I did that, and I'm not saying this doesn't hurt, it's still gonna hurt, but I'm
Mm,
showing people in real time how not to let your brain make this 1,000 times worse for you. Like, I had a very good day yesterday. I had a very good day the day before. Like I said, equilibrium, what goes up, what must come down. So at the end of a really good day, I'm gonna have a really good cry and I'm gonna have a little bit of a low, but I'm expecting that now. So
yeah,
I can still have really good days. Someone asked me yesterday from a scale from 1 to 10, "How are you feeling today?" And I was like, 7? I don't even wanna tell people that because I'm afraid that people are like, "Oh, you're in denial or you're, whatever."
yeah,
And, I mean, that's just old me stuff, like caring when I shouldn't care,
yeah,
but I'm being honest because I want people to see you can live a meaningful and happy life even feeling all this pain. It doesn't even have to be either or. I'm feeling it all the time. There hasn't been a single minute that I've been awake that I wasn't acutely aware that he's gone. And I'm having really good days. There are moments of the day that are not so good, but overall I can look at them and see like that was a really good day. And I believe in the value of that, of people seeing don't get trapped in this brain that doesn't know how to help you process grief because
yeah,
the old me would have found lots of ways to be mad at people and to hold on to that and to feel like they didn't show up for me in my time of grief, which in reality it was me pushing them away. That's something I've really learned, and so I've taken in all the love sent to me, all the help offered to me, all of those things, and I'm just showing people like if you feel like you don't have people, and yes, certainly there are people without a support system. So obviously I'm not speaking to those people, but take a look. Like if you feel like people aren't showing up for you, let's make sure you're not just trying to protect yourself from being vulnerable and shoving them away. Cause I did in my previous losses, and I'm working really hard not to do that right now. I'm receiving people in a way I never have. And so, even just talking about that or talking to people about how I've realized, like, oh, I used to think everyone around me couldn't help me, so why talk to them about it? And I realized I was just telling myself that because I was afraid to be vulnerable. Like, that hit me one day in the funeral home, like, because I felt so okay with talking to someone because I can process all of this out loud myself, but I gotta get it out. And I finally realized the way in which internalizing all of that was making me a very angry, resentful, bitter person. But I'm showing people that stuff in real time.
yeah. Vulnerability is such a powerful thing. Uh, we got a whole chapter of on that. Uh, it has so many benefits for us, like finding solutions, like you said, is one. Uh,
Yes.
quite often, like we don't know what this person we're talking to, they've had a lot happen to them in their life, and we just know a little bit. We don't know what someone told them yesterday or some event they had as a child. And so often you share something, some challenge you're facing, and they're like, "Oh," and then they tell you something, and you're like, "Wow, I wasn't expecting that." Uh,
Yes.
so yeah, it's so valuable not to go thinking, "Oh, this person can't help me." And the other thing is like it just builds. connection so often. Like, as long as we don't uh, take it too far, people love to know about you. So if you can
Yeah.
share a bit about you, then that can help build that connection, a stronger relationship there.
Yes,
You,
versus you going, "Oh, I can't talk to you," which shuts them out, and then you're also probably not treating them in a way that you would otherwise if you weren't sitting there actively holding things or withholding things from them, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, I think another powerful thing that you're exhibiting is not feeling guilty for feeling happy. Like, so I think so many people have something terrible happen to them in their life and they feel like they shouldn't feel happy. As in,
Right.
like, it's not morally right to feel happy when this has happened.
Mhm.
Uh, and that's not healthy. Like, who's that helping? By feeling sad because it's morally right to feel sad, like,
Right.
it's not
Well, and I
helping.
think too, like, when people are grieving, I think that I mean, my dad died when I was 15, and I kind of remember actively making a choice to stay stuck in this, like, complicated grief
Yeah,
because if I didn't, I'm losing the connection with him.
yeah,
And so I think people really believe that because our brains are liars and will give you the weirdest information to try to help you because it doesn't know how to. It knows how to
yeah,
keep you alive by feeding you catastrophe. So, like, learning how to just sit in feelings. And I'm still learning that. Like, sometimes I'm like, something's wrong, but like, I don't really know what. So I'm just going to sit and notice sensations in my body. But I'll do that for an hour before I spend any amount of time up here trying to logic my way through something because my brain is nasty. It is a liar and it will tell me to do all kinds of stupid stuff. But I think, yeah, I think that's what happens is they want to hold on to as much of the hurt as possible because that's the connection that they feel like they have left. And that's why I think it's really important to make like lasting connections, continued connections when you lose somebody, because you can keep that connection going to spend time at the cemetery or however people want to do it
yeah,
versus trying to keep it in your brain with pain.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's a great example. Like, if we want to respect someone, why not do it in a positive way, like taking them flowers or, I don't know, doing something kind for them, rather
Mhm.
than feeling sad for them. Like, that's not gonna help them or us, but we could still respect them in a more positive, helpful, uh, helpful way.
Yeah, and I think that's what this is all about too is just understanding that you can hold two very complex emotions at the same time. Happiness can be really complex and anguish can be as well, but you can hold both. And you don't have to suffer. That's been my big thing is you don't have to like sit in suffering. I can be in pain and also be really happy about other things and pursue the happiness. I'm not I to my knowledge I'm not avoiding. I mean, obviously there's always, a chance that I'm gonna, 2 weeks from now even be like, "Oh, I just thought I was doing okay." Who knows? Like, I'm afraid of that sometimes, like,
Yeah.
that I'm doing too well or whatever. But I also think that's my brain getting me into a thought spiral. And so I'm living minute to minute, man. Like, I'm like, right now, I'm good. Like, right here, I'm good. And that's where I wanna stay. And so the next minute, I'm gonna just assess that minute. But I think that the key really is to all the things that we've talked about is learning how to tune in to you, be connected to you, disconnect from this thing that's really only here to keep us alive.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is valuable to, like, think things through logically, and often we have to eventually. We need to, like,
Sure.
it our judgments have such a huge effect on how we feel. Like,
Yes.
like, going for a run and having something to eat and sleeping and spending time with our friends will change how we feel, but so will our judgments. And our judgments are logical things. Like, they may not be rational, like they may not be sensible, but
Yeah.
they're like rational as in there's a reason we feel that way. And to change that feeling, we need to change that reason. And to change that reason, we need to go up there and think about it logically. So a lot of the time, we're going to have to go there. And if we want to go there, then we want to be optimistic, right? And
Right.
so if we're going to go there, let's make ourselves optimistic. Let's go and give ourselves these happy hormones and then go there. Like, let's go for a walk. Let's spend some time with our friends, put ourselves in a happy place, and then go and think logically about this and see if we can change our perspective. Uh, because yeah, another thing that's uh, probably little known is the effect these judgments have in the background when we're not even like actively thinking about them.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yes.
like if we've got a judgment running in our heads, we can be, in a meeting talking to other people about a topic and like we're really not thinking about this thing that happened to us this morning, but we're still feeling down because
Mhm.
like it's like it's still going through our heads subconsciously. Or the
Yes.
opposite can happen. Like we might have something amazing happen in the morning and we're feeling on top of the world. And again, we're in that meeting. We're not thinking about it at all, but we're just like
In the
got
best
so much
mood, yes.
energy. Uh, so these judgments that we make, they have a continuing effect on how we feel. So they're really important to confront at some stage and hopefully find a more positive judgment that makes us feel more positive even when we're not thinking about it.
Well, yeah, we were talking about how, like, if you do something to boost those chemicals before you go do something you really don't wanna do, like homework,
Yeah.
um, that you will even approach the snags that you hit in homework so much more lightheartedly, and how, like, if you really don't wanna do something, then just do something that you find fun to get the energy to do the things that you don't wanna do, and there's so much value in that, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And finding how this like if we want dopamine from this thing, we need to know how it's going to benefit us.
Mhm.
Uh so we do difficult things because of some benefit in the future. If we
Yep.
see no benefit in it, then we're going to find it very hard to get that kick, that motivation to do this difficult thing. Like a lot of times people are like, right, I really want to go to the gym. And you're like, why? Why do you want to go to the gym? And they're like, it's good for you. Uh, everyone knows that you should go to the gym. But what's in it for you? Like, how are you going to get something out of this? And if they can't answer that question, then it's going to be very hard for them to get into that habit of going to the gym. Like, just something being good for you isn't enough. Like, what goal are you
Right.
working towards that this is going to help you achieve? Like, what is something in your life that you really want that this is going to help you get? And when you can answer that question, then getting in this habit is going to be easy. Uh, yeah. So if you can, the first thing is to want something, and the second thing is to be like, how is this going to help me get it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And conversely, you will sometimes see that the things you're doing isn't gonna help you get it, so maybe do less of those things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 100%. Sometimes we really want to do something and you ask yourself, why do I want to do this? And we might be like, well, actually, yeah, why do I want to do this?
Yep. I
What am
don't
I
know that I
stressing
should.
about? Like, there's nothing
Yes.
in this for me.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, Adam, I've had such a good time with you. Tell us where we can find you.
Well, you can find me in Brisbane, but online, uh, I've got a website, adambrownlie.com.au. Uh, there's links there to my books. So I've got another book that I wrote last year. It's science fiction, And then, yeah, Happypedia, it's coming out the next week. So there's a link there too. Or if you just Google Adam Brownlie, then you'll find uh, everything about me. So,
And I'll make
yeah.
sure I include your links in the show notes too.
Yeah, thanks,
Are
Melissa.
you on social media at all?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, you'll find my
Okay.
personal pages. Uh, yeah, I've also got a couple of videos on YouTube.
Okay,
Probably
cool.
make some more in the future.
Well, good. Well, I'll make
And
sure I'll go through your profile and see whatever you've got to include in the show notes, and I'll make sure I do that. But I really appreciate you being here today, especially with the time discrepancy. And I had such a good time with you.
I'm really glad to hear, Melissa. And yeah, all the best with staying happy for the rest of your life,
Thank
uh,
you.
the rest of today and tomorrow and the year. And yeah,
I appreciate you so much. I'm going to push stop if you'll hang out for a second.
yeah.
Thanks for coming to Emotionally Unavailable. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and share. Emotionally unavailable.